Hey everybody, I'm Tresnay, FCN Prime News. Got some great news for you, stories for you tonight, some current events, and some technology updates. I am joined with Jaco. Jaco, what stories and sports do you have for us today?
Well, thank you, Tresnay. We got a lot of Olympics to catch up on, so we're going to be discussing that and a little bit of basketball. But, you know, as Jaco always says, a little bit of basketball goes a long way. Back to you, Tresnay.
All right, y'all. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to FCN Prime News. Today is Monday, February the 19th, and of course, you're watching FCN Prime News on the Fifth Column Network. I'm editor of FCN1, which is home of news, politics, and business news, and of course, your news anchor for tonight. I'm a little tired today. Please excuse me because so many of y'all's Black Panther think pieces. Whew, Lord have mercy. So many mixed messages on social media, so many narratives. It reminded me why we open every episode of Prime News, reminding you all that FCN is here to bring you the facts and only the facts. No narratives, no fake news, no uninformed commentary or opinions, because in building community, it's never helpful to avoid what's real or what's true and keep pushing some self-serving agenda. Never, ever. With that said, let's take time to share this broadcast with all our friends and followers so that they can join in on another episode of news from a perspective that matters to me and matters to you. And I'm going to do that myself to make sure that you guys watch here on my followers as well. All right, let's get into our crime and justice news for tonight. First up, dumb criminal stories are the best because why? Here in Illinois, they say that they've arrested a man pretending to be a police officer when he walked into the lobby of a county jail wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying a BB gun and asked deputies to help him make an arrest. Officials say 40-year-old Justin Hefner was this man, and though deputies immediately suspected he wasn't a legitimate law enforcement officer, they played along and asked him to come inside and disarm per their protocol. This guy actually agreed. Officers immediately called the police department and Hefner was arrested. Officials later found an, wait for it, AR-15 in his car. Photos released showed he was carrying ammunition, zip ties, handcuffs, and a badge with a vest with a nameplate on it. Hefner has been charged with false impersonation of a public official, unlawful use of a weapon, and unlawful use of body armor. Speaking of dumb criminals, that label isn't limited to those with just a low intelligence. In Pennsylvania, a Bloomsburg University professor was arrested after a routine audit uncovered child pornography on his work computer. Scott Lowe, age 57, is accused of viewing multiple images of child porn on his work computer. One of the images, a girl between the ages of 7 and 10 who was not fully clothed. Prior to the charges, Lowe had been a professor and chairman of Bloomsburg University's philosophy department, where he worked for decades, specializing in social and political philosophy and, wait for it, ethics. Lowe has been charged with 4 counts of sexual abuse of children and related offenses. He's being held in a county prison with a bail of $250,000 as of Friday. He's due in court for his preliminary hearing on February the 28th. Turning our attention to bittersweet victories in the court system, the family of Corinne Gaines, a woman who was shot by Baltimore County Police during a 6-hour standoff. Her mother was awarded $37 million for her wrongful death and shooting by officers. Jurors say Baltimore County Officer Royce Ruby did not act reasonably in the shooting that killed Gaines and wounded her son Cody in August of 2016. Baltimore County Attorney Mike Field issued this statement regarding the jury's verdict, and I quote, "A mother died, a child was unintentionally injured, and police officers were placed in mortal danger. By any account, this was a tragic situation. The county is disappointed with the verdict and is reviewing all of its options, including an appeal." Police were placed in mortal danger. An appeal? Your officers just got scot-free with criminal charges. You should just let this be. In my last story for today, a Louisiana man is arrested after attacking his girlfriend with a sword during a Netflix and chill. The young lady told deputies that she and Troy Seals, age 20, had been smoking weed and watching Netflix when Seals started doing acid. A short time later, he started being anti-Semitic and making white supremacy remarks. Officers learned that Seals had taken 8 hits of acid before punching his girlfriend in the face and then later attacking her with a medieval sword. Authorities say drops of blood were found on the sword and in parts of the home. When deputies questioned Seals on why he attacked his girlfriend with the sword, his response was, "I was actually trying to hit her in the head." The young lady sustained multiple contusions on her legs and her arms, as well as a fractured forearm. While being handcuffed, Seals, who actively fought arrest while screaming, "I am God," he was miraculously taken alive and has been since charged with aggravated second-degree battery of a domestic partner and battery of a police officer. I was lying that was my last story. That was my last crime story. And what is amazing with what Caucasians can get away with in America, President Trump is no exception. This time, number 45 decided to come for Oprah, calling her insecure. On Sunday, President Trump took to Twitter lashing out at Ms. Winfrey, whom some hope to be Trump's rival in the 2020 elections. The Twitter tantrum came after Trump watched Oprah's interview of a panel of voters on the TV show 60 Minutes, which included questions of how they felt about Trump's recent comments referring to immigrants from ish-hole countries, Trump's mental fitness for office, his temperament, and the sexual misconduct allegations that he faces. Trump's tweets about Oprah followed a very familiar pattern. He asserted to have once known her as a rival or critic very well, but now he sees her as an enemy, and so he is threatening to expose her, just like he did Senators Charles Schumer and Cory Booker. Many Americans are hoping Winfrey decides to run. Days after her Golden Globe speech, polls showed that she would get 52% of the vote if she ran against Trump. But for now, Winfrey is using her platform to ask Americans how they feel about Trump's comments and policies, which is what appears the president took issue with on Sunday. In the 60 Minutes interview, the former talk show host again said she has no desire to run for president. While America deals with this leadership crisis, the United Kingdom is having a chicken crisis that has caused KFC to close 900 restaurants. Yes, KFC in the UK changed its chicken delivery company, and ain't no chicken show up at hundreds of its restaurants for daily operations. Until last Tuesday, KFC's chicken was delivered by a South African-owned distribution company called Bidvest, which describes itself as the leading supplier in logistical supply chain solutions to the UK hospitality and restaurant sector. But after a corporate change to the delivery company DHL, many of the food giant's outlets began running out of chicken products. And that's bad not just for customers who want their bucket of chicken, but also its workers. The Workers Union for KFC employees said it tried to warn KFC that switching from Bidvest to DHL was a logistical mistake, as DHL is running its whole operation out of one distribution center. And boy, were they right. While employees of KFC's corporate-owned locations, their staff for short-term contracts and their salary employees will still get paid during this time of restaurant closures. However, for the 80% of the rest of the KFC outlets that are run on a franchise basis, those sole proprietors and employees, this is a financial disaster. No chicken means no sales, which means closed doors and the inability to pay wages. In international news, the wife of Israel's leader is being questioned in a case involving collusion with Israeli media to ensure sweet, good coverage of her boo thing in the press. Sarah Netanyahu, wife of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has been called in for questioning after she boasted of skewed sweetheart coverage on an Israeli site called Walla. An open investigation referred to the case as Case 4000, and it involves an alleged quid pro quo relationship between the Prime Minister, who previously served as the telecommunications minister from 2014 to 2017, and the wealthy businessman who controls the news site Walla. Her involvement comes after discovering materials and correspondence boasting about arranging favorable coverage of herself and her husband on Walla, mainly ahead of her husband's 2013 election. So Israel has their own little elections collusion investigation going on, huh? Interesting. Turning our attention to science and technology, Elon Musk's proposal to build an underground hyperloop between New York and Washington, D.C. has received government approval. Last week, Washington, D.C.'s Department of Transportation issued a preliminary permit to Musk Boring Company to allow them to start digging at an abandoned lot in the northeast section of the city. The tunnel network could propel pods filled with people between the nation's capital and New York in 29 minutes, which is considerably less time than the 5-hour car trip. The Hyperloop would make stops in Philadelphia and Baltimore as well. The electric car pioneer and space entrepreneur has been touting his vision for a high-speed transportation system since his tweet announcement last summer that he had received verbal government approval for his tunnel digging. This preliminary permit would allow some preparatory and excavation work while the city figures out what other permits would be needed to cut under the city roads and other public spaces. The mayor of D.C. has said that at this stage, he is upbeat about the project, but non-committal. In other tech and science news, a recent study shows that only 43% of American teens have gotten the HPV vaccine. The HPV vaccine is a drug that prevents everything from cervical cancer in women to penis cancer in men. But a new study from Blue Cross Blue Shield Association has found that vaccination rates for American teenagers is still quite low. Just 29% of 13-year-olds in the U.S. have received the first round of the vaccine. The vaccine is ideally given in 3 different doses over a course of 6 months. And according to the CDC, only 43% of teens are up to date on their HPV vaccine. Each year, roughly 31,000 Americans are diagnosed with cancers that are related to HPV, the most common sexually transmitted virus in the country, which includes people getting cervical cancer, oral cancers, and penile cancer. In my final science news story for tonight, scientists have created the first human-sheep hybrid. Scientists have grown embryos containing both sheep and human cells, creating a hybrid culture that's 99% sheep and 0.01% human. The Stanford University project exists to test how organs grown in animals can be used for transplants in humans. The project could even be used to find a cure for type 1 diabetes and help alleviate the shortage of organ donors. According to the NHS Blood and Transplant Association, almost 460 people died last year waiting for organs, while those who do receive transplants sometimes see organs rejected, even as the best matched organs don't last very long because with time the immune system continuously attacks them. Scientists say growing human organs inside of animals could not only increase supply but also offer the possibility of genetically tailoring the organs to be compatible with the immune system of the patient receiving them by using the patient's own cells in the procedure, of course, removing the possibility of rejection. Here's how it works. Stem cells are made from adult human cells. They are introduced into an early stage sheep embryo. This hybrid embryo is returned to the sheep carrying a small fraction of human cells with the ultimate goal of birthing a new sheep with selected fully transplantable human organs. I wonder if anybody got consent from these sheep for these interspecies whoopsie-doo. Not sure. With that, I want to kick it over to J-Co for your sports stories for tonight, and then we'll come back here to the Prime News Desk.
Hello everybody, I am J-Co, and here are tonight's top news stories from the FCN2 Sports Desk. The Olympics have been going on for a little over a week now, so we're going to catch up on some of the results. My man, U.S. Olympic speed skater Shani Davis, seen here with his Speed Skater Forever tribute, unfortunately did not medal this year in the 1,500 meter short track event. Shani came in 19th place this year. He started off the Olympics with a little bit of a controversy when he decided to sit out of the opening ceremonies. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are going to want to remind us of that or remind us of his non-medaling finish in what is his likely last Olympic Games. But I just want to remind you that he is and has created history by winning medals for the United States in past Olympics, and that can never be taken away from him. So congratulations, Mr. Davis. Sorry to see you go, but I'm sure there is greatness to follow. Speaking of speed skating, just the beginning for these two young ladies. U.S. speed skaters Erin Jackson on the left and Amame Bine on the right. Two very young rookie Olympiads did not medal in this year's games. They both did make a strong showing, but just could not get over the hump. However, they will for certain be back in the 2022 Winter Olympic Games. I expect to see a lot more. Neither of these young ladies has reached or fulfilled their untapped potential. Their coaches have always talked about them only getting better and better. So a lot left to come from these two ladies. You get Nathan, U.S. gold medal favorite. Nathan Chen did not place in what everyone thought he was a shoo-in for, the short program, men's figure skating. He fell again, like he did during the team competition, just could not handle the pressure. Chen is one of those victims of that overhyped and under-delivered expectations that is the Olympic Games. You go in and you get these people that you just know they're going to win, and they get hyped, they get hyped. They get under the spotlight, and they just can't live up to the pressure. This is not to say or take away anything from his talent, from his abilities. He actually went from 17th place up into 5th place in the men's free skate by hitting a record 6 quads in a row. Those are some sort of spin for those of you who are not so familiar with men's figure skating. I couldn't do it right now, but it's pretty impressive. 5 was the previous record. He did 6. It launched him from 17th place to 5th place. All 3 American men, Chen and Vincent Zhao and Adam Rippon, were in top 10 in the free skate men's single events, but none of them were able to medal. However, one guaranteed medal for the United States, the women's hockey team. The U.S. women's hockey team, one of the best on the planet, is going to face Canada for the gold this Wednesday, the 21st. This is a bitter rivalry between the two. They are basically the top 2 teams in the world. The last 20 or so games, they have pretty much split even. 4 years ago, the United States fell to Canada, not securing the gold, so they want to make up. They want their redemption game this year. They feel like they can do it. They are confident. They are hungry. So we're going to be cheering on the women in the hockey gold match. Now, we haven't gotten to bobsledding yet, but I just want to remind you all of the American bobsled team. All right, I just want to remind you guys that we have several African American women on the bobsled team. And although they are not sledding for America, I did recently find out that the Nigerian women's team, all 3 of them are from America, but they are part of the diaspora. They are all Nigerian through their relations, through their heritage, and so they have decided to compete for the Nigerian team. So best of luck to these ladies as well. I just thought it could stand reminding that these strong women are competing this week in bobsledding. And finally, King is king. King James, LeBron, the greatest. I don't care what you say. I think if you watched last week's TBT, you heard the Revolution's opinion on this. If you don't like them, you got problems. LeBron James won the MVP of the NBA All-Star Game, 29 points, as well as hitting the game-tying three-pointer and the go-ahead layup with an assist from former teammate Kyrie Irving. We will discuss King James more at length on Thursday, 7:30, True Baller Thursday. But tonight, that is all I have. I appreciate you tuning in to FCN Prime Sports. Now I'm going to kick it back for a special treat from Trezene.
Speaking of the NBA All-Star Game, let's say we got to be graced by the Black Eyed Peas White Queen, Fergie, as she graced the microphone to give us the national Anthem. And I thought that we together could listen together, you guys. Go ahead and play that clip as we watch this amazing creative rendition of this song.
The Star-Spangled Banner is an acclaimed singer, songwriter, actress, and 8-time Grammy Award winner from Hacienda Heights, California, Fergie.
Yeah, this is oh man, it's bad. It's so bad. She looked nice though. She did, and I thought she started off pretty good. I was like, oh, there was hope.
What so proudly wail at the twilight's last gleaming.
I love how she is legit, like, into it. Like, she can't hear herself.
Through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave through the night that our flag was still there.
Is that the famous Oh yeah, like her whole attitude, she creatively thought about this. She was like, I'm going to do a jazz rendition with Reggie Mathis. She thought she was channeling Marvin Gaye, but it turned into Carl Lewis. Yes, absolutely. Tanisha says she thought she did great. She's sorely mistaken. Yes, look, Ebony Marie Chappelle, you're way too nice. That shit was a mess. It was a mess. This was a... Yes, was that a channeling Marilyn Monroe? Oh man, this was sexy. It was horrible. She's seriously feeling herself. Yes, I love catching herself on that jumbotron. Oh my god.
Let's play some basketball.
This is so good.
Perform
Oh my god. Okay. So listen, that was horrible. Listen, I'm personally partial to national anthems. You know, as someone who's a singer, it's a hard song to sing for a number of reasons. You need a big range and you need to be able to belt out those notes. That's just how it was written. So it got us thinking in the FCN studios, where does this fall in the top 5 worst national anthem renditions? And so I have a countdown for you. Here's my number 5 worst rendition. It's a guy named Ezra Harris. Take a listen to this.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light?
This is bad. It comes with captions, and I love that it comes with captions.
At the last gleaming brook,
So bad.
for the rapids we walk stream.
And I love how he's like into it. Like he's still going for it. Like there's no shame. There's no shame.
Gave to the night that the stars were still there.
Yes.
And the home of the free.
Yes.
He said gay through the night.
Yes.
Gay through the night.
Okay. Here's my number 4. This is a young lady named Victoria Zarlenga. She looks like she's at a soccer game, And she is dressed to the nines, just like Fergie was. And she's got her hair laid, and she is feeling herself. And she gave us this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Giving us full diva, holding the ear. Listen, not at all. You see the crowd? Whose broad stripes and bright stars. Oh my God. Anytime somebody does this, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be trouble. Yes, this, and you start having to use your hands. Listen, into raps. I think so. Because you gotta act like you can't hear yourself. You hear it all the way. Oh my God. Yes, you hear that. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. You can cut her at any time. Anytime. All right, so number 3, I give this to Fergie. And just for fun, let's play the best clip of that rendition. Yes, that took me out. Like, where did that come from? You've been trying to sing soft and sexy, and then you want to give us a huge, girl, sit down. Yes, Chris Rock's face is the best.
I like the Jimmy Kimmel face up there. I'm watching him tonight. I want to see his commentary.
Oh my God. Okay. Number 2.
Oh my God. I watched this live.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw this live. I'll never be able to unsee it and unhear it.
Never. Go roll this when it comes to spoken word. Oh my God.
Oh, say, can you see? And the rockets.
Okay. Is that a process?
I'll make up for it now.
A fade process.
For the
The modern version of the conch. Got it. This is most people's number 1. But upon a review of the internets, FCN production team, the family, we saw this clip and was like, this chick gets number 1. Her name is Caroline Marcille, and watch this and you'll see it's number 1 forever. Oh man, hockey game coming on out. Didn't know the word. She leaves? Which were ready for her. Like, wait. And then she comes back out. Confident.
She's confident. And then,
Listen, it's over. It's over. You don't get to come back. It is over. You don't get to come back from that. Your heart is racing. You can't breathe. You can't get your diaphragm under control. It's over. You just exit stage left for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is FCN's top 5 worst national anthem renditions. I didn't include Roseanne because she's not a singer. She's a comedian, and her performance was in the spirit of comedy. And I didn't include R. Kelly's rendition because that's a whole nother list of what. How do you do the national anthem when you know you can't sing that well? How do you change it? That's a whole nother list. And I think Marvin Gaye might be in that list, even though he can sing. He changed it for himself. What? That goes in that list. People who changed the song. Okay, whatever. All right. That's it for FCN Prime News. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Black Lightning pregame show hosted by The Revolution. On Wednesday, we have The Woo Show. Tone, I didn't forget. The Woo Show hosted by Hulk A. Tone. And then after that will be the ACS Versace pregame show hosted by yours truly. And then, of course, FCN Prime News will be back on Thursday. Love you guys. Thank you guys.
True Ball Thursday.
What?
True Ball Thursday.
And True Baller Thursday. And Thursday Wind Down. Back to back program. Actually, the Thursday Wind Down will come on before True Baller Thursday next week. Yes? They looking like, we don't know, whatever. All right. We love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. This has been another episode of FCN Prime News. Have a good night.